the world one woman at a time. Women of Grace, for such a time as this. Now, here's your host, Johnnette Williams.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Women of Grace Live. I am Johnnette Williams, very delighted to be with you today. Yes, I am. It's a wonderful opportunity to come together in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ and to have that holy conversation. That is what we're about right here on Women of Grace Live. And you know what? It takes more than one person to have a conversation. That means you've got to get involved. And the way that you can get involved is by giving us a call. 833-288-EWTN is a toll-free number for you to use if you're in North America. It's 833-288-3986. We're also available for you out there at EWTN Radio's YouTube channel and Facebook page. Simply use that chat feature, put in your question, comment, insight, inspiration, or word of encouragement, and we will get it retrieved and up on the board, and we'll be able to address it. If you are a first-time caller or a first-time submitter, we want to know, because when you let us know, we ring a bell. Why? Well, it's a welcome bell. It welcomes you to your debut right here on Women of Grace Live. I'm going to ring this bell, but on the break, I'm going to pull over my other bell. But this is the bell I'm showing you that we can use sometimes. So do give us a call and let us know if you're a first-timer, and we'll ring that bell for you. Always love to hear from new people, but I gotta tell you, I love to hear from those of you that call in regularly as well. So don't ever be shy about calling in. Don't let the evil one, make you shy or self-conscious or worried or afraid or any of that stuff. Just call in, join us. Holy conversation is one of the great ways in which we edify each other, build each other up. One of the great ways in which we can grow in our faith. I was reading about that today. I just want to spend a moment with you before I give you some announcements. But, I just love Father Gabriel of St. Mary Magdalene. I don't know if he's in heaven. I hope he is. He died many years ago, and I hope that if he was in purgatory at all, I hope it was fast and swift for him. He certainly had a deep, deep love of God. There's no question about that. And today is Meditation 241 in Divine Intimacy, and I highly recommend this book to you. Highly recommend this book to you. Encourage you to get this beautiful volume. They have it for you at EWTN's Religious Catalog. I like to tell you it's costly. It's not inexpensive. But for those of you that are on social media and can see me, you can see that it's a beautiful book, right? You can see that it's leather bound. You can see that the pages are gilt. It's just, this is one of those books that you have for your life. It's not something that you want to replace. It's something that you want to keep and hopefully pass down to others. But all of that being said, today is Meditation 241, and it's on faith. And, I just loved it. I just loved it. This beautiful material, which is steeped in the tradition of the church, but steeped in sacred scripture as well. It gives us so much insight. And he reminded me of that beautiful definition that St. Thomas Aquinas gives us for faith. And it's found in the second meditation. So the way that this is set up is there's two meditations, 1, 2, and then there's a colloquy. And a colloquy is the soul responding back to God. So we take in this information, this spiritual insight coming to us by way of the Holy Spirit through those that he uses to communicate it to us, such as, in this case, Father Gabriel, St. Mary Magdalene, and then we formulate a response back to God. But this is what he writes in the second meditation about faith. He says, St. Thomas says that faith, now this is a quote from St. Thomas, faith is a habitual disposition of soul by which eternal life begins in us. Wow, when I read that, I just had to stop. And I just had to take that into a time of contemplation. Really just being open and present to what was being expressed there. Not necessarily wanting to ruminate on it through a use of the intellect, but just opening, the inner part of my being to be present to what was being communicated through these words. So faith, which as you well know is one of the theological virtues that we receive at our baptism, faith is meant to be this habitual disposition of the soul. And what is the result of it? By which eternal life begins in us. And so we sit there open to the reality that eternal life already exists within us by way of the theological virtue of faith. And then we ask the Holy Spirit to move us into that reality. Move me into this heaven that already exists in my soul. Now, of course, that is dependent upon the fact that we're in a state of grace, right? Because mortal sin is not compatible with the life of God. And so in order for heaven to be present to us, heaven to be in us, we have to be in a state of grace. But if we're in a state of grace, then heaven is within us. And we just sit there, allowing our soul to apprehend that reality and to let that reality move into us. Now listen to this. He goes on, Father Gabriel does. He says, in fact, by faith, we begin to know God as we shall one day know him in heaven. He writes, there we shall know him unveiled in the light of glory. Here below, we know him dimly by means of the truths which faith proposes to us to believe, truths which give us, however, the very same God. He writes, faith and the beatific vision are like two phases of the same knowledge of God. He explains, faith gives us an initial, obscure, imperfect knowledge. The beatific vision, where faith will end, will give us full, clear, perfect knowledge. Now, he writes, and I just believe it's a little later on here, he writes that to the extent that faith grows in us. Oh, and this is from St. Mary Magdalene de Pazzi. Yes, it's a quote from her. Listen to this. This is so beautiful. It's so exciting. She writes, but the more the soul believes in you. Now, this is her. She's talking to God, this saint. She says, but the more the soul believes in you, and of course this you is God, but the more the soul believes in you, so much the more will it come to unite itself to you and participate in your grandeur. Isn't that beautiful? So as we encourage faith in ourselves, as we cooperate with that theological virtue of faith, as we give way to the things of faith, as we spend more time in prayer, receive the sacraments more fervently, make opportunity of the sacrament of confession, as we seek to live a more virtuous life, as we practice acts of charity, acts of love, which is really the love of God bursting forth in us for another, as we practice those acts of love towards others, what's happening? We're encouraging heaven in our soul, and we are participating in the very grandeur of God. Isn't that amazing? I mean, I just found that really quite remarkable. I hope you do too. And I hope it encourages you to step forward in faith. Yes, I do. To ask God to give you a deeper faith, a truer faith, a richer faith, a fuller faith. All of those adjectives. We want that. Yes, we truly do. Well, today is Wednesday. It's Wacky Wednesday. Sue Brinkman is going to be with us on the other side of the break, encouraging you to line up right now because she's going to be answering your questions about the weird and the wacky that we see going on in the world today. Those things that stand in opposition to true faith in God. We don't want them, so we alert you to them. 833-288-EWTN is the way that you can call. EWTN Radio's YouTube channel and Facebook page is where it is that you leave us a question. You are listening to Women of Grace Live. This is Wacky Wednesday. I'm here, and Sue Brinkman is going to be with us on the other side of the break. And I mean the real Sue Brinkman. Stay with us.
Registration is now open for At the Well, the Young Women's Eucharistic Retreat, hosted by the nuns of Our Lady of the Angels Monastery in Huntsville, Alabama. This one-day retreat is Saturday, July 27th from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's open to single young women between the ages of 18 and 29, and it's just $25 per person. Please visit olamshrine.com/news.
From Rome to your home, EWTN's Vatican Bureau lets you watch all of the important events from Rome, even if you don't have a TV. Using the latest technology, we've made it possible to watch the latest news from the Holy See, all delivered directly to your home. Watch live on EWTN YouTube and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. EWTN is the Global Catholic Network.
This is a Did You Know moment with Sandra McDevitt. Did you know General Andrew Jackson, later President Jackson, thank the Ursuline sisters for their help in winning the Battle of New Orleans. In 1815, American troops were vastly outnumbered by the British in the Battle of New Orleans. General Jackson asked the Ursuline sisters to pray for a miracle. A statue of Our Lady of Prompt Succor was brought into the convent's chapel, and a miracle was prayed for. The Americans defeated the British in 30 minutes. Thanking the sisters, General Jackson said, "Through the intercession of Our Lady of Prompt Succor, God granted us a miracle." In 1928, the Holy See chose Our Lady of Prompt Succor as patroness not only of New Orleans, but of Louisiana. I'm Sandra McDevitt for EWTN Radio.
Oh my goodness, you hear that music, don't you? You know when you hear that music that it is definitely Wacky Wednesday and that Sue Brinkman is with us. Not that Sue is wacky. Well, she can get a little wacky. We both can get a little wacky. But she is a pretty stable individual. We want to hear from you today. 833-288-EWTN is the way that you can join us. It's toll free for you here in North America. That's 833-288-3986. You can also leave a question or a comment for us at EWTN Radio's YouTube channel and Facebook page. Simply use the chat feature that is available for you at both of those sites. Put in your question or comment, insight, inspiration, or word of encouragement, and we'll get it retrieved. As I was telling you at the beginning of the program, if you're a first-timer, submitter, and or caller, we do want to know. When you let us know, we ring our bell. This is the one I want to ring. This bell has an exorcism prayer attached to it. I like to use it on Wacky Wednesdays. So anyway, we're ringing that bell to welcome you to the debut. It's not a statement about you. It's just a statement about what it is that we deal with on these days. So do give us a call, 833-288-EWTN. Do want to remind you that on July the 11th, which is this week, right, we are going to have an evening of grace. And this evening of grace is going to be a wonderful opportunity for you to come together with other beautiful daughters of the Most High God to explore our life of faith together. These evenings of grace and mornings of grace are free of charge. They take place online. Oftentimes they take place in person too, but this is the online one that I'm inviting you to join us for. We're going to be talking about true friendship. What an important topic. True friendship is the topic. It is going to be, I'm telling you, let's see, it is going to be on Thursday evening, July the 11th. That's tomorrow night. It begins at 7 p.m. Eastern and is over at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Regional coordinators Linda DeGonzaga and Denise McCain will be leading this, and it's going to be lovely. If you have never dipped into Women of Grace, this is a great way to become familiar. If you have participated in Women of Grace, this is a great way to remain in touch and to stay active with all of these beautiful daughters of the Most High God. We are expanding our tent pegs. Yes, we are, and we want for you to join us. Come underneath this beautiful, beautiful opportunity to grow in knowledge of who you are as a daughter of the Most High God. Topic again for tomorrow evening is true friendship. There was one going on today, but you know it's already in progress right now, so we can't advertise that one, but we're looking forward to that. Well, without further delay, let us welcome Sue Brinkman. Hey, Sue, welcome, welcome.
Oh, welcome. Thank you so much for having me. I'm always glad to be here on Wacky Wednesday. Every time I hear that music, though, it makes me laugh. I can't believe that they're playing that music for me. I think, what happened?
It's great. Our lines are lighting up already, but we've got a couple of topics that we want to share at the beginning here, friends. So those of you calling in, we're going to get to you. Practice a little patience and wait for us, but we do want to talk about a couple of topics. You know, when you think it can't get any worse, it just kind of seems to go in that direction, especially when it comes to Disney. You know, Sue, Disney always was, I think, a tremendous way to help young people through very good programming to come to an understanding of good and evil, what is right and what is wrong. But it has taken a decided turn to the left. And when I say left, I'm not talking about political stances, although I'm sure it's there too with regard to that. But I'm talking left of center, taking us into dark areas. And there's something going on right now that, really, I have to tell you, presents a whole lot of righteous indignation and anger in me.
Absolutely. And Disney, they should change the name. It's not Disney. Disney is really, people think of Disney as being good family programming. Mm-hmm. Disney has not been good family programming for a long time. Oh, yeah, they throw in a couple movies now and then to satisfy us. But for the most part, they have gone, as you said, way far to the left of that. And this latest Star Wars spinoff, known as The Acolyte, has really got a lot of parents and Star Wars fans just fuming over the way they've twisted this plot in order to make it be woke. So what they've done now, they're calling it a new low and an embarrassment for Disney. It features two 8-year-old twin girls named May and Osha, whose lesbian mothers live in a witchy, all-female space coven. And the girls were apparently conceived by the Force rather than a father. That's the plot line here. And at one point, it sounds
very much like Rosemary's Baby.
Seriously, it truly is. It's a kind of a takeoff to that, isn't it? But it's an intergalactic takeoff to that. At one point in the episode, one of the mothers tells her daughters that this isn't about good and evil. This is about power and who is allowed to use it.
Oh, my goodness.
This is what we're teaching our kids. Now, the good news in this, as dark as that is that nobody likes it. The audience it got a 14% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. That's an all-time low for a Star Wars spinoff. There's people who, professional reviewers who have said that they used to be massive Star Wars fans, that this isn't it at all. Disney it's hashtag RIP Star Wars, rest in peace Star Wars. In other words, it's over. If this is what Star Wars is now, it's just, as one guy said, boring, drawn out, nonsensical garbage. Disney is a complete joke, is what another professional reviewer had to say about it. But the parents who were responding to it on Common Sense Media, they voiced concern not just about that, but about the violence in it. And the one parent wrote that the show was not suitable for children or teens, that there were multiple stabbings and beheadings in these episodes, and a graphic on-screen neck snapping that resulted in death. And they're saying it's not suitable. The characters are underdeveloped. It's overall poor writing and scripting, and it says that there's no good messaging that's coming out of it. No good messaging at all. So thankfully, 1 million moms have stepped up to the plate, and they've initiated a campaign protesting The Acolyte and Disney's continued decline. And they've, in fact, I signed on to this. It's a pledge to stop watching Disney and Disney Plus until they clean up their act. Just stop it. And I put a link in there. If you want to make that pledge, you can. Thus far, it's up to 15,000 signatures that are on there, and they just started this, so we don't know how far this is going to go. But I'm not watching it anymore. I'm not watching Disney or Disney Plus until they just stop it with this stuff. It's just not good for society. It's not in the community's best interest to be teaching these kind of things to children.
Well, this is what happens when you hijack a genre or a media and you use it to promote an agenda. You use it to promote a worldview. And, this never should be the way that it goes, especially when that worldview is devoid of any moral value whatsoever, especially when it stands in the face of the Judeo-Christian ethos. There is nothing wholesome about movies like this, nothing wholesome. And what I find so irritating is that whether it is as obvious as it is in this particular film or as subtle as it can be in some of the others, it is nonetheless there, and it's a corrupting influence in the minds of our children. And we have got to step into the fray. If we remain silent on these things, then basically we are giving an implicit approbation to what is going on. And we're going to be held accountable for that. Now, I'm not saying that we've got to get out there and protest en masse, but by the same token, we protest in the ways in which we can. And you've mentioned a couple of different ways. You can sign a petition. You can, cancel those subscriptions to the Disney outlets. And you can stay away from the Disney parks. And that is most sad, because taking children to Disneyland or Disney World has become, part of an American tradition, really. And if parents can afford it, they do it. And sometimes they save and sacrifice to be able to take their children for this beautiful opportunity to enter into a world of fantasy. But all of that money goes to supporting all of these other efforts. And, we've got to look at that. We've got to take a really hard look at that. And it's sad. But, I think Walt Disney would be turning over in his grave or wherever he is, because I understand his body is frozen somewhere. But all of that being said, we've got to really consider if it's living out the mission that it was founded to live out. I doubt it, and I think not.
Obviously, it is not living out that, and I just feel like it's a horrendous breach of the public trust, because like you said, Disney's a tradition in this country, and it used to be one where it was all state-of-the-art work and great storytelling and with really good professional writers in that. And boy, I'll tell you, the writers of this particular Star Wars series are just being roundly panned by professionals. The one is calling it schlocky storytelling,
Mm-hmm.
and just saying that it's ridiculous dialogue, laughable lesbian chat group fantasy fiction. So it's not really even all that good.
Yeah.
The 14% on Rotten Tomatoes is a horrible rating. I mean, that's in the dust. So Disney doesn't usually get things like that, because they should be continuing that tradition that Walt Disney began, which is to have really good storytelling, really good animation, and that sort of thing. And now it's not even a shadow of what it once was. It's completely different now. And I think that's really a shame. I think it's a shame.
It really is. I want to move on to the second topic of the day that you've got for us. And this one is surprising, friends. If you love your pet, you're going to want to pay attention to what Sue has to say to us. Tell us about essential oils and pets.
Yeah, I had an email the other week from somebody who listens to Wacky Wednesday, and he said he would greatly appreciate if anyone has conducted a survey as to cancer in pets for people who use essential oils in diffusers. He said that I have known several pet owners who lost their dogs to lung cancer. I thought, wow, I'd never heard of that before, and I started to look into it, and I was shocked at what I found out. In fact, I got rid of some of the stuff that I've been using in the house here, because it's not safe for animals to be around some of this stuff, and I had no idea about that. I had no idea. Most of the veterinary sites that I visited when researching this topic urged extreme caution when using essential oils around pets. Certain oils work well for protecting pets from fleas and calming their separation anxiety, but the indiscriminate use of those oils has caused serious problems in pets. The Animal Emergency Center, which is one of the main sites I visited, said all pet owners should be aware of the potential toxicity of essential oil products. Essential oil toxicosis in veterinary patients can vary depending on the oil content, and it's all kinds of things from seizures, disorientation, ataxia. I actually had a cat that had ataxia. That's very frightening to look at that. Coma and even death in dogs and cats. Cats appear to be even more sensitive to ingestion of essential oils. But I list on this web article about it, all of the ones that are known to be toxic to them. Some of them are horseradish, mustard, pennyroyal, tansy, wormwood. They are actually toxic to animals if you use them around them. Then there's another list that's are potentially toxic depending on the dose that they're exposed to. And they are some of the most typical: basil, bay leaf, citrus, cinnamon bark. Citrus is what I was using to keep my cats off the furniture. Peppermint, oregano, myrrh. Sassafras. I had no idea about this. Sassafras, the main constituent in that oil is safrole, which is a known carcinogen. I'm thinking, oh, this is bad. So the American Kennel Club is urging people to be wary of the use of them, but also be wary of these natural flea and tick products, because they say there is a lack of data supporting the success of these products. Mm-hmm. So owners who might be putting their dogs at risk for flea and tick-borne diseases, ask your veterinarian first, and also check with them to make sure that whatever essential oil-based flea and tick control you're using is actually safe and has the amounts in it that your dog or your cat can tolerate. And I also give you information about toxicity, how to tell if your animal is suffering from some toxicity, muscle tremors, drooling, difficulty breathing, pawing at their mouth or their face. I give you the pet poison helpline. In all my years of having pets, I've used that helpline more than once. And just end it with a word of caution to say, don't use them unless you have professional guidance on your animals or around your animals. You should be very careful with the use of them. And I'm very grateful to the person who sent in that question. It was a very good one. It was eye-opening for me, and I hope it is for the people who are listening right now. Be careful with them around your animals. Don't make the mistake, and so many people do this nowadays, of mistaking natural for safe. That is not true. Mm-hmm. It is not necessarily safe just because it's natural.
I have a couple of questions for you with regard to this. Now, I don't use essential oils, but I do have diffusers in the house that, have air fresheners. So is that equally difficult? And then the other question that I have has to do with the use of essential oils on your own body. There's a lot of people that use essential oils on their body thinking that it has healing properties, which of course we have debunked. And all of these, articles that Sue has written for us on essential oils are available for you out there at our website, womenofgrace.com. You'll see the New Age blog featured on the homepage. Just click on that. It'll take you there. Or you can get there directly by typing into your search engine newage.womenofgrace.com. It'll take you directly there. Use the search feature, put in essential oils, and the articles will pop up. So what about that, Sue? What about just regular, air fresheners versus essential oil diffusers? And what about using essential oils on your own body or putting them in with your laundry products and things like that?
Oh, yeah, you could put them in with your laundry products because the amount and the dose is very important as far as the toxicity is concerned. Now, when it comes to diffusers, chances are your diffuser does not have some of the toxic ones in it, such as bitter almond, calamus, horseradish. I mean, nobody's going to have that scent in their house, right? What you should do is check your diffuser to find out if it has any of them in there that are dose dependent, that might be sensitive, particularly to cats, which might be things like citrus, cinnamon bark, hyssop, myrrh, peppermint, savory, wintergreen. Check to make sure that your diffuser doesn't have anything in there. Normally, they tend to be floral scents. Okay. that are in diffusers. And again, as I said, that's dose dependent. So in a diffuser, it may not be strong enough, but I would definitely mention it to your vet and say, I use these around my house. I, for one, do that a lot. I tend to use candles, though, rather than them. But I would check with your vet. I would check with your vet before using them.
All right, more to come on the other side of the break. We're going to go to our phone lines. We've got Mark with us and Kelly with us. We want you to be with us, too. Let me give you that toll-free number. It's 833-288-EWTN. That's 833-288-3986. Pick up the phone, give us a call. Let us know if you're a first-timer. I'll ring my bell for you. Leave a message for us at EWTN Radio's YouTube channel or Facebook page, and we will address your question on the air today. Coming right back after the break. Stay with us.
The most original Catholic content is on EWTN Radio.
What have you always wanted to know about the Vatican? Well, I'm your Vatican insider, and I answer that question when I bring you the news about the Pope, Vatican City, and I share insights and stories from a broad spectrum of church ministries.
Vatican Insider with Joan Lewis, Saturday night, 9 Eastern on EWTN Radio.
This is a Messy Family Minute with Mike and Alicia Hernan. It's a myth that there's a perfect way to be a parent. The reality is that every family, every couple, every child is different. But when parents work together, they can figure it out. We have 10 kids of our own, so we know this path is not an easy one.
We used to think that it was our job to make our children into saints. Now we realize that it's their job to make us into saints. This parenting thing is full of dying to self, hardships that are both physical and emotional. Parenting makes you more aware of your sinfulness and weakness more than almost anything else you will ever do.
But this is exactly where God wants us, so he can shower us with his mercy and love. God doesn't love us in spite of our humanity. He loves us because of it.
Parenting is our path to holiness, and as we change and mature, we will be better parents. We may even become saints. To get more advice and encouragement, visit us at messyfamilyproject.org.
Church Pop features new online Christian content that's fun, informative, and inspirational. You'll learn something new every day. Find Church Pop on Snapchat, Instagram, and on the web at churchpop.com. Church Pop, make holy all things.
Hi, this is Cy Kellett. Two great guests later today on Catholic Answers Live, Steve Ray and Dr. Edward Sri. Join us, Catholic Answers Live, 6 p.m. Eastern on EWTN Radio. Now, back to Women of Grace with Johnnette Williams.
Welcome back, friends. You're listening. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Women of Grace Live. I'm Johnnette Williams. It is a Wacky Wednesday here. Wacky things happen on Wacky Wednesday. Yes, they do. Sue Brinkman is with us. We're going to take your questions now about anything weird and wacky that you see happening in your world. This is your opportunity to get your answers to your questions. So do give us a call, 833-288-EWTN. That's 833-288-3986 is the way that you can call us toll free. Matthew Gabensky will love to hear from you, but not as much as I will. Well, maybe as much as I do. I love hearing from you. I certainly do. Also available for you out there at EWTN Radio's YouTube channel and Facebook page. Michael McCall will retrieve your question, get it up on the board for us. So please leave a comment, question, insight, inspiration, or word of encouragement for us right there in the chat feature at EWTN Radio's YouTube channel and Facebook page. If you're a first timer, we do want to know. We will ring our bell for you to welcome you for your debut, encouraging you to get out to our website, womenofgrace.com, see what's happening at Women of Grace, but do stop by our New Age blog. You can search under any topic that you want and get numbers of articles on any given subject area. All of that's available for you at womenofgrace.com. Well, Sue, we're back at it. We've got Kelly with us in Vermont. We're going to take Kelly's call, listening to us via the EWTN app. Hey, Kelly, welcome.
Hi. Wow, that happened quick. I think I was listening to an old show for some reason. So my question is, I heard something recently about a treatment called grounding, as in like an electrical ground in the ground that is supposed to help with inflammatory issues, autoimmune things, because supposedly we used to ground by walking around barefoot, or our shoes had leather soles, but now everything is plastic, and we can't reach that sort of power. And so they have sheets, actually, that you plug into the grounding part of your outlet, that you could lay on your bed, and it's supposed to help you. I did a little bit of research. I couldn't find anything too kooky, but I thought I would ask.
Well, I'm glad you did ask. I think that we have done some research on this here. So, Sue, how do you respond to Kelly?
There really is no scientific basis behind grounding. That is a New Age creation. The premise, for those who don't know what it is, it's you take off, as you were saying, that you take off your shoes and you walk barefoot in the earth, and you're able to absorb electrons from the earth, and those electrons are supposedly able to heal us. And one of the sites that I referred to on our blog on this subject said that we know that earthing allows a transfer of electrons, the Earth's natural subtle energy, into the body. We do not know that. There is no scientific evidence for it. The only people making those assertions are those that are involved in selling things that are related to grounding. Stephen Novella, MD, an academic clinical neurologist at Yale University Medical Center, says what is lacking are rigorous studies that are designed to establish the basic claims of earthing or to show convincing evidence of a positive clinical effect. So I would not put any money into anything that is with grounding. It simply does not have anything other than anecdotal evidence to support it. People saying, yeah, I tried it and it felt good. There's a lot of reasons why things might feel good, even though it has nothing to do with the product that you're trying. And you just need to be very careful when it comes to something like this. And I'm glad to see that you were doing your research and looking for anything too kooky. I like that. That you didn't want to go anything too kooky, but that is kind of kooky. The whole premise of it, that you can absorb these electrons from the earth and they're going to heal you, and especially because the websites that I were on don't have any evidence other than user testimonials. And I mean, if you think about it, Kelly, that's what they did back in the olden days, right? When the snake oil salesman came to town with his wagon full of snake oil, he just, walked out people who said, yeah, this worked for me. And people bought it for that reason. But now we do a lot of testing. We protect consumers from those kinds of consumer ripoffs. So grounding is not good.
Well,
and
let me just say this too. I mean,
and the fact that you're checking on it is good. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention too, though, there's a placebo effect. And that's a very real psychological reality, that sometimes if we think something's going to help us, then we actually do feel a boost when we use it because, our orientation mentally is in that direction. I can say something else. Walking barefoot can be a very nice experience. I mean, feeling the grass, the blades of grass between your toes and the softness of it and the texture of it, or walking in sand, or walking along the seashore and letting the water lap up, against your ankles and all, can be very soothing and can be very comforting in so very many ways. So there's nothing the matter with that kind of a thing. But when we begin to attribute to these lovely realities that are ours by way of the created order that God's given to us, when we begin to attribute things to them that are greater than they are capable of doing, then we begin to invest in a type of superstition. So, I think, Sue, that there's a lot of people that like to walk barefoot. I mean, hey, you're a third order discalced Carmelite. So, being shoeless once in a while is not a bad idea, but is that healing us in the way in which this purports that it does? And the answer to that seems to be no. But I do thank you for your question, Kelly. It's a really, really good one. Do you have anything else you wanted to add to that, Sue?
I just wanted to say that if you are looking for some of the reasons why people believe alternatives work even when they don't, we do have a blog on that, of course. And just, when you get into the index of our New Age blog, just look up alternatives and you'll see it in there. There's 7 reasons why people believe they work even when they don't. And it's just all kinds of psychological things, as you were saying, the placebo effect. And one of them is just that the disease that maybe you're being treated for is cyclical, and it happens to be in the downward slide there, and you're feeling better about it because it is feeling better. You know how certain things are, especially arthritis is the first thing that comes to my mind. Is some days it's bad and some days it's not that bad. So anyway, that's another blog that you can look up to see why do people believe things like this work if they really don't. And there are reasons for it. There are definitely reasons.
Well, I'll tell you what, one thing is for sure. That New Age blog is a treasure trove, friends. We know that it's accessed by people all around the world. Lots of exorcists visit it regularly. Sue's done a ton of research over many, many years, and it's all collected for you there. And it's our pleasure to offer it to you free of charge just out there at our website. It's really, I think, something important for us as we continue to make our way through this day and time, but also in preventing us from falling victim to some of the scams that are out there, and also falling victim to the tactics of the evil one that wants to lure us very far away from the revealed truth of sacred scripture and the teachings of the church. We're going to go to Mark in St. Louis today. Yes, we are here for you. Our phone lines are indeed open. 833-288-EWTN. That's 833-288-3986 is the way that you can join us. Also, you can leave a question for us at EWTN Radio's YouTube channel and Facebook page. Simply use the chat feature and put in your question, comment, insight, inspiration, or word of encouragement, and we'll be only too happy to address what is going on in your world today. Mark is with us via Covenant Catholic Radio out there in St. Louis area. Shout out to all of the good people there. Hey, Mark, welcome.
Yes, hi.
Hi.
I was just wondering if you ever heard of the California psychics and how they can, give you a free reading if it doesn't change your life. That's what they advertise. They say that 20 minutes is $20. I was just wondering if this is if you ever heard of them.
Yes. There's a lot of different hotlines. That's just one of them. But the California psychics, you have a whole list of psychics that are looking at them right now. Some of them are giving away their services for $1 a minute. I mean, it's not that bad at all here. And it's all to help you to discern your future. I think they have mediums on here too. I'm just looking at the site right now. Affordable, popular, and the premium rate, $80 for those who really want to go to have access to all 368 psychics on their site. But yeah, this is tarot reading is one of the things they do. And it's, psychics is not something that you ever want to get involved in. And these are people who are consorting with either the devil or they're con artists. It's either one of the two. Because they can really tell you anything that they want. I went to psychics. This was before I'd come back to the church. I went to psychics for years. And the reason I went to her is because she told me everything I wanted to hear. So I was an easy client. She knew exactly what I needed to hear. And she would just tell me these things. Did she have any special powers? I doubt it. But hey, she made a good living. It was $50 an hour back then for her to talk with a person. So psychics, their ability, and there's different kinds of psychics. There's aura readers and there's intuitives, medical intuitives, and that sort of thing. But our church teaches very clearly in number 2116 in the Catechism, all forms of divination are to be rejected. And that is, conjuring up the dead or other practices falsely supposed to unveil the future, consulting horoscopes, astrology, palm reading, interpretation of omens and lots, the phenomenon of clairvoyance. That is a psychic now. Recourse to mediums. Okay, these are people who contact the dead. They all conceal a desire for power over time, history, and in the last analysis, other human beings, as well as a wish to conciliate hidden powers. And they contradict the honor, respect, and love that is owed to God alone. So we shouldn't have anything to do with any kind of psychics, especially these phone-in ones. Now you're probably having a con job there with a phone-in person. But I would stay away from them and not have anything to do with psychics at all. Have you been to any of them? Did you ever make any calls, Mark, to these psychics?
No.
Good.
I heard advertised on the radio.
Yeah. Well, they're very good at marketing, that's for sure. And they continue to use all form of media to market, and they can be very convincing. But typically, too, Sue, that they prey upon the vulnerable, people that are in difficult straits or difficult circumstances, because of life situations or maybe health concerns, or spiritually they're not really oriented to our Lord Jesus Christ. They're drifting out there. So they do seem to prey upon individuals who are in a vulnerable position. The other thing, too, that they'll often do, and I don't know if the person that you visited did this or not, but I remember years ago I went to a psychic twice with a friend that never should have done that. But anyway, it was one of those situations that you find yourself in. And I just didn't have the wherewithal to understand that this is something I really shouldn't be about. But all of that being said, there's always a hook at the end. There was, at least with this woman, there was a hook at the end. There was always a hook. There was always something there that was going to get you to come back the next time. It was not necessarily blatant. It would be, a question, or it would be a statement that, would be unresolved. And then it would be, oh, I'm sorry, our time is over. We've got to go. And they leave you hanging so that you're eager to make that next appointment to come back to finish up whatever it was that they were going to talk about there. I don't know if you had that experience or not.
to fix me up with their nephew, and it ended up being a date from hell. So that's the stuff for another show. But it didn't end well. Let's put it that way. It did not end well. But I mean, if you go to our blog and look under psychic, there's just dozens of articles there, and so many of them: psychic jailed for fraud, psychic enters politics, another phony busted psychic busted for theft, feds bust phony psychic ring. I mean, there over and over again you see the con artistry that's really prevalent in that particular field, and people they're actually suing some psychics for false prophecies that led them to ruin their lives, give up all their money. You have to really be careful with just stay away from it. Don't even go to them. Don't even go to them, not even for fun. Don't go there. Don't go there, because some of them may be consorting with the evil one. They may not think they are, but that's where they're getting their information about you. You know, a clairaudient, a clairvoyant who sees things in their head, a clairaudient who hears things, a clairsentient who feels things. Sometimes that's really true. They are feeling things, and these things are really astonishingly accurate, and they're getting that information from the evil one. He's feeding him that information, because remember, he's watching us all the time. He knows exactly what we're doing. He knows exactly what your last text message said. He knows all that stuff. He's watching you, and he can feed that to an open and willing person, such as a psychic, and you're going to keep going back, aren't you? Because you're going to think this person has special power. Well, really what they're doing is they're consorting with evil. That's where they're getting their information. That's where they're getting their power. Yeah, is from the dark side. You don't want to do that.
Well, I think that you accurately categorize it, that they're either charlatans who are con artists, or they're individuals who are consorting with powers and principalities. And as you said, Sue, the church gives us excellent guidance, and we stay away from those things. Do not allow ourselves to have this, morbid type of curiosity that's going to lead us in those directions. Whenever there is a gathering and something like this is going to take place, we don't go. We stay away from it. And we're smart. We're smart in doing that. You know, we're really called to be on the offensive and on the defensive when it comes to the spiritual life. So again, I recommend that you get out there and take a look at what we've got for you at our website, womenofgrace.com, all kinds of great things there. All righty, we're going to move forward. And ready for another call there, Sue? Good. Okay, we're going to go to Ben's in Delaware, I do believe, listening to us via EWTN.com. Good morning to you. Oh, none's ready right now. I'm seeing hold, but none is ready. So we're going to wait for just a moment. Not yet. Coming up in just a second. But, so this is one of the beautiful realities that we have in the gift of our faith, because we don't have to sort through all this on our own. The church has given us the guidance that we need. And this is why I always recommend that we have a catechism of the Catholic Church in our home. It's a marvelous teaching tool. In addition to that, we can use the index to refer to specific topics when we have a question about it. And you're going to find that the footnotes, et cetera, are going to send you to, a deeper investigation if, in fact, you want to learn more about it, or if you need to know more about it for the sake of decisions that you have to make in your own life. So, I really recommend that you get a copy of the Catechism of the Catholic Church. Of course, they've got those available for you at EWTN.com. So we invite you to check it out. Well, that's actually EWTNRC.com. We invite you to check it out and to get a copy of the Catechism of the Catholic Church. And, again, this resource that you provide for us, Sue, I mean, we never run out of topics, do we?
Oh, they come in, they just flood in from all over the place, every continent in the world. Yes, I think we have had a question from somebody somewhere. Yeah. New Zealand, all through Europe. I have several of them, a lot of them from Canada, actually. I have one sitting in my mailbox right now from Canada. It just goes on and on and on. And it's so easy, though, in this culture that really promotes it. Promotes the occult, promotes anything that's not Christian. Let's put it that way. Just promotes it. Buddhism, Hinduism, yoga, and all that kind of stuff. That's all being promoted right now because it's not Christian. That's why it's being promoted. And you look at it. How many times have you seen news stories saying that psychics solved a crime? So naturally you think, well, if they can do that, then they can use their powers for good. Well, the truth of the matter is this, Johnnette. Psychics have never solved a single crime, according to the FBI. They've never done it. They have all kinds of little tactics that they use, but the failure rate of psychics who tried to solve crimes is astronomical. And I'm talking about Sylvia Browne, the late Sylvia Browne. There's an analysis was done of 115 cases of hers. She was flat out wrong in 25, and the remaining 90 cases either had no available details outside the transcript of the crime, and there was really no way to confirm her claims.
Yeah.
So it's con artistry. For the most part, it is con artistry that's going on out there, but it's being made to look very appealing to people, so they're turning to it. And that's why when you say to have that catechism, have that. And when you're doing things like what Kelly was saying, she looked up grounding. Well, you look up grounding, and then you Google in something like grounding or earth worship or something like that, and the Catholic Church, and you'll get the teaching. It'll point you in the right direction. So when you are looking up stuff like that, just add another Google search in there, but put Catholic on the end of it.
Yeah.
And it will help you to see what does the church teach about it. I learned so much about my faith in the last 12 years or so that I've been working on this blog. I have learned so much about my faith just by researching these things and then asking myself, okay, well, what's so bad about it? What's wrong with it? And then finding that out.
Yeah.
And I
Let's get to Noah.
So that's why the church teaches what it does.
Noah's a first-time caller in Battle Creek, Michigan. Ringing my bell for Noah. We want to get you in here, Noah.
Hello.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Sure can.
All right. So I had a question because, the topic was Wacky Wednesdays, and there's stuff about tarot reading and whatnot. So I was going through my memory, and the other day I was coming home, I think from work, and there's a Scientology center, and I saw a tent set up. I couldn't tell if this was a protest or if it was the Scientologists themselves. Regardless, I figured I'd stop by and talk to these people. They ended up being the Scientologists, and I was talking with them, and then I'm bringing up all these points. They're like, "Oh, we don't believe that." So I even said to them, "Oh, my bad. I was, thinking you guys were Mormon or whatever." But I just wanted to know if you have any apologetic talking points or arguments offhand specifically for Scientology and Scientologists.
That's a great question, Noah. Yes, and having lived in the Clearwater, Florida area for a number of years, which is where their international headquarters is, we know quite a bit about Scientologists. Sue, go ahead.
We do. Scientology, they believe that people are immortal spiritual beings, or thetans, and they've forgotten their true nature. It offers like a method of spiritual rehabilitation known as auditing, and that attempts to free people of the scarring effects of the traumatic and painful effects of their lives. And they scorn the use of all medicine, Scientologists do. They believe that most physical problems are manifestations of spiritual ailments. We do have a blog on it. One of the ways that you can fight back on them is all of this, the former Scientologists who have come out and spoken about really what is just outright criminal things going on within that Church of Scientology. It's called a cult. And all kinds of abuse by the leaders. There's long history of that. If you just Google in Scientology scandal, you'll be reading like probably for the rest of the week on that particular subject. There's been so many of these cases of people speaking out about what's really going on inside that church. It's pretty bad.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your question, Noah. Take Sue's advice. Look it up online. You're going to get a lot. You can reference our blogs, too, at womenofgrace.com or New Age at newage.womenofgrace.com. Both ways will get you there. It's been great being with you today. Sue, thank you once again. We're going to be back with you again tomorrow, friends. Until then, may the abundant life of Jesus Christ be yours. Bye-bye now.
The most original Catholic content is on EWTN.